Oh, hello. We are live. Holy smokes. How's everyone doing? I hope you all had a great holiday weekend there. Merry Christmas, I hope. I always feel like I'm in limbo in between member streams and the live streams. It always seems weird. It always seems like, yeah, limbo. That's a good word for it. It seems a little weird. As always, we'll give a couple minutes for people to roll on into chat here. No topic today. So you might be able to tell by the title of the live stream. I was curious how many live streams I've done. Looked it up. 1,137. Seems like a lot. So this is 1,138, and we're just going to talk about fish and random stuff, so it should be fun. Looking forward to it. We got some new fish to look at. These heat pumps are for the birds. I want a real furnace. I hope I've kept power. Yeah, I should also say there's a likelihood of me losing power, as it is fairly windy out and the lights have flickered a little bit. So if I drop, that is why. Probably lost power. Too coolie for schoolie says Merry Post Christmas. I agree. Hello, Bob from snowy cold PA. So I'm just actually, you know what? I'm just going to get right into it. Let's head on over to, what? Why is this a black screen? Oh, there we go. What an amateur hour here. So a lot of new fish. I don't have a fish of the week, but we're going to take a look at some of these new fish. I specifically want to highlight these dwarf redtail eels. These things are freaking amazing. They're an undescribed species. They get about 6 inches or so, we think, being an undescribed newer species. There's not a lot of info out there on them, so they do well in community tanks. Obviously, you don't want fish that are large enough to fit in its mouth, but supposedly pretty mild, not very aggressive. Really cool eel. I've never seen them before, and I wouldn't mind a couple of them at some point. Longfin white clouds, super red curbensis, gold roseline barbs back in stock. Those are always a hot ticket. And then one of my favorite fish, the clown killies, the rocket killie, if you will. Now in stock, pretty sweet. Peacock gudgeons, also one of my favorite fish. Some bandit cories, and last stream about an hour ago I bought some con color Corydoras, and they're already sold out, so if you were looking for those, too slow, Joe. Some regular roseline barbs, that's a really good price, $10. Wow, that's cheap. Roseline shiners, can't go wrong with these. So yeah, just take a look. Glow light Danios is my favorite Danio. Lots of cool new fish added to Dan's Fish. Use that link that I have posted there for 10% off your first order, and get yourself a little Christmas present here. Are these horse face? Yeah. You know what I want to get? I want to get moose face loaches. I haven't had those in a very long time. Got the horse face, but there's also a moose face loach. I need to find those. Hillstream loaches. I'm gonna breed these. I think Hillstream loaches. I kind of want to get some of these just to breed them. Might have to add that to the list of breeding projects this year. Your favorite catfish, not counting Corydoras. I mean, I love Pictus cats and Raphael cats and my Synodontis. It would probably be Petricola catfish. I'm going to try to breed those as well. I don't know if I'll get to it this year, but I love Petricola catfish. I think one of the coolest tanks I ever saw was like a 75-gallon with like 100 Petricola catfish, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Do cherry shrimp require a lot of light in their tank? Nope. Definitely not. BJ Palmer says, late Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Bob, and all of the Steen Dream team. Right back at you. Thank you. Hello, world. So did anybody get any, like, sweet Christmas fish gifts at all? I bought myself some Corydoras for Christmas. I did get some of the con color Corydoras that are already sold out. I want to show you these because I love concolor Corydoras. Let's go back to Firefox here. Wait, what happened to catfish? Oh, here we go. These were in stock an hour ago, and they're already sold out. But I absolutely love this fish. I'm super excited to get some. Not sure when they'll be shipped out, but I can wait. Just a beautiful dark-bodied, orange, rustic kind of finish on it. Daughter got me a breeder box. That's sweet. I love myself some breeder boxes. Coro says pygmy cories are back. They are back. So yeah, I actually just bought 8 of these in the last live stream last hour, and someone bought all the other ones. So kind of weird, but all right. Bob, I got a fish question. How would you treat a molly which had a lump on the side that broke, now form under the scales, some white slime-like things leaching out from it? I would probably euthanize it. I know that's not what you want to hear. I would 100% separate it. I probably wouldn't euthanize it. That might be a little harsh, but that's usually not a good sign, having growths like that. I would definitely separate it. And shipping starts on the 3rd. There we go. Tell the truth, Mr. Bob. You bought all the concolor cories. I wish. That would have been really expensive. I wish. But honestly, as far as your molly, I would 100% separate it. Get 5 or 10 gallon little quarantine tank going on. Just very, very clean water. And see if it recovers. I honestly wouldn't treat it unless it like starts getting that like white fungus really bad. Then maybe I would treat it, but otherwise, I would probably just let it go in a quarantine tank. And if it makes it, great. If it doesn't, that's usually not a very good sign though. I've had it. To be fair, I've never had it in mollies, but I've had it in rainbowfish, and they've never survived when they get that weird growth that kind of grows out the side of them. And not fish related, but it's related to your stream. My 3-year-old got me a banana phone coffee mug. That's I saw it. You sent me. I responded to you. I thought that actually makes me smile. I do like that. That was kind of funny. Zen, I just laugh when Bob calls you that. We know you're not old. Old Zenny. Old Zenny. Brienne's Fish Fan. What's going on, Brienne? Good to see you. Been lurking in the streams lately. I've been lurking in your streams lately. Leslie says, I bought myself a Higer heater for Christmas because I had to use my backup for a quarantine tank. Always need a backup. It's good. It's good to have backups. Like I have multiple linear piston air pumps because you have one pump. Well, if you have, specifically I do, but generally people with fish rooms, they have like one linear piston air pump that powers all their fish room, but they don't have a backup one. So what happens when that goes bad? Then you got to wait for another one to come in via shipping. Usually takes a while. So, yeah. I got backups for all my backups. What's a good temp for angelfish? I would keep mine. I did keep mine at 78 degrees. A lot of people like to keep them warmer. In my experience, when you keep them warmer, they're a bit more aggressive. 64 said, with a shiver. Joel G. NZ. What's going on, buddy? Member for 13 months. Thank you. I appreciate it. Says, and Sister's Bob. It's true. It is so cheap right now to fly to South America. I was looking it up the other day. Like, I could go to Medellin round trip for like $350. It's very tempting. Very, very tempting. I don't know. I might just do something crazy in the spring. We'll see how it goes. But I would love to really go anywhere down there and just search for fish. I've always wanted to go to Medellin, though. Just, yeah, Pablo Escobar. I don't know. I think it would be neat. So that's why I was looking at Medellin. But like flights in general right now, really, really good time to buy airfare if you're going anywhere. Do it. I'm gonna go somewhere. Maybe Brazil. I mean, Colombia would be really. I would love to go to Colombia. Uruguay, Paraguay, really anywhere. Not Chile though, as we learned last week, right? Not going to Chile because there are no Corydoras in Chile. That cavity search on the way back, yeah, they'd be looking for cocaine and they'd find Corydoras. They'd be like, "What in the world are you smuggling here?" Can't fly anywhere now with the weather cancellations. One of my good friends is stuck in Chicago. That's not a good place to be stuck. Yeah, I don't fly in the winter just for this reason. Like, you never know. Like, I hate late flights. I hate canceled flights. I hate everything. I love flying, but I hate everything up to getting on the airplane, though. So yeah, I don't usually fly in the winter. No way, Jose. Reef the Sea Forever says, I got a baby angel the other day. I'm a reef keeper trying out some freshwater. All right. I think they're both awesome. I've had saltwater. I'm obviously mainly freshwater, but I've had saltwater in the past, and I'll probably have saltwater at some point in the future. She's been at O'Hare for 16 hours. Yeah, that sounds miserable. I love people watching, and an airport is a good place for that, but that's a bit extreme. If I hit the lotto, I want to go collect rainbows with Gary Lang. If you hit the lotto, I would highly recommend not going to Papua New Guinea. That would be a disaster. Unless you can hide the fact that you're a lotto winner, which I don't know if you could hide that. But if you have millions of dollars, you're going to get abducted and you're going to get held for ransom. And who knows what else they're going to do to you. I don't know. Like, I'd rather go to Papua New Guinea as a broke as I am right now than as a millionaire that won the lottery. I want a dedicated engineered Goby reef tank. That would be fun. Ginger Grumble with the $5 super chat says, hello from Brazil. It is true. Ginger Grumble is actually in Brazil right now and refuses to go look for Corydoras for me. Can you believe that? The nerve. Like, she sent me a picture of her sitting in a river. You're already swimming in the river. Just look, scoop a couple out, try to smuggle them back. What's the worst that can happen? You know? Jeez. Curtis with the $1 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Johnny at Dan's Fish says, my friends are going to Cabo for Christmas, but flights got canceled and they got stuck in Boise instead. Well, that's what they get. You don't go to tropical paradise on Christmas. All right? You don't. You go to, like, I don't know, New York. You go see the tree. You do Christmas stuff. You do snow. It's Christmas. You don't go to the tropics. That's just bad form. Bad form. See, and now the world is punishing them for trying to ditch Christmas, and now you're stuck in Boise, Idaho, where it's probably snowing like crazy. Lotto winners seem to come to bad ends. Yeah, but most of that is like self-inflicted, right? Was that one lotto winner that won like $200 million that went broke in like a year? I don't know. That's not exactly right, but he won a crap ton of money. And I remember the story where he had like $500,000 in cash sitting on in a bag in the passenger seat of his Ferrari, and someone just smashed it and grabbed it and ran. And then like 2 weeks later, he has like another $500,000 in a duffel bag on his passenger seat, and again, someone smashed and grabbed it. Like, so stupid. I'm not going to try to bring it home. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You don't leave snow to find snow? That's what happens when you try to leave snow. Going to New York at Christmas is on my bucket list. Yeah, I want to see the tree so bad. One of these Decembers, I will make it to New York. but then that violates my rule of traveling in the winter, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to pull that off. Got to figure it out some way. Rodrigo, what's up, buddy? You gotta get me some Corydoras, man. Some Corydoras, some fish. If you're not gonna collect them and try to smuggle them back, at least like take some pictures of some fish. Can you at least do that? And Rodrigo, I have no idea what you're saying, my friend, except for Bob and Brazil. That's about the only Portuguese out of that I know what you're saying. Does that mean I speak Portuguese? Because I know you said Bob in Brazil. Duckweed is goldfish candy. They eat it like crazy. I never knew this. Really? That's why people buy goldfish, to eat their duckweed, get rid of their duckweed. I don't approve of that, but Roots and Whiskers, show me your kitty. That's more like an OnlyFans request. I can't do that on YouTube. But thank you, Lisa, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. If I win the lotto, I'll buy you a plane ticket. There's a drawing tonight. Bob, that's what he said. Wait, I don't. Is that like a Michael Scott reference, or did he actually say that? I'm confused. No, but seriously, Lisa, no, because my dogs are in here, and that's not. I'm not bringing my cat in here. My cat. I have 2 stray cats on my property. I'm not going to bring them in here with my dogs, because that will not end well. I've already been pawed to death once. I don't need a Royal Rumble match going on in here. Roots and Whiskers. Remember when I was like, who is Roots and Whiskers and why are they a mod on my channel? I was so confused. There is a cat. A kitty cat. 2 of them. 2 of them now. One of them ate my quail, but you know, what are you gonna do? One of my quail, just one. So that's. I don't see, like, I was expecting people maybe get like, maybe you finally got your monster tank for Christmas or something, but it's pretty mild Christmas presents so far. Nothing really like blowing me away here. That's okay. I'm just happy to hear you've come around. I've never not liked cats. Like, I've just liked dogs more. It doesn't mean I don't like cats. I've had cats my whole life. Kind of. The tree this year is from upstate where we live. Nice. Rodrigo says, I'll give the fishes to Maria. All right, there we go. Now you don't have a choice, Ginger Grumble. Rodrigo's on board. Why aren't you on board? What's the problem? What's the real problem here? I got a $100 Visa. Probably gonna buy some fish with it. Nice. I got a Tika T1X. Nothing for my aquariums. I don't even know what that is. Tika T1X. Let me Google it. Oh, duh. I know what that is. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Bob, what do you do with blackbeard algae? I use it to fill in some spots around here. Little bare spots. I use hydrogen peroxide. Easy peasy. Just I get a little pipette and I spot treat it with hydrogen peroxide. If you wait too long and it really gets out of control, then I just tear down the tank and start over. Like, if you have a whole carpet of blackbeard algae, I'll just rip everything out and start over. But if it's just now setting in, then I'll just spot treat it with hydrogen peroxide and then try to figure out why it's there in the first place. Like, what kind of conditions are in my aquarium that's allowing it. So, like, overfeeding, low flow. Like, blackbeard algae generally doesn't like high flow. I got Secret Histories Corydoras hoodie, a co-op gift card, nice. Cash for fish, nice. 10-gallon shrimp tank with stand. So there's someone that cleaned up. That's a good hole right there. Aaron says 55-gallon with stand and complete setup, $100 gift certificate to the old school to the what? To Green Tree local fish store in Indiana. That's another good one too. A whole setup, that's nice. My family bought me the Aquarium Co-op CO2 regulator. I'm happy. That is amazing. I love the regulator. There we go. Some good gifts in here now. Regina says, Roots and Whiskers, 2 of my discus paired off and sometimes lay eggs on my filter intake. I'm obsessed with my discus. Thank you for all the great advice, Lisa. Also, happy birthday, Lisa. I won RODI from Fish Fam Christmas. I guess I did get a $100 gift card as well. I didn't win it, but it was gifted to me from Alec. So I did get something. I did get something fish related. My best Christmas present was my LFS decided to sell me the 10 rainbow shiners they had tucked away in their basement all summer, bringing them home to try and breed them Wednesday. That is amazing. One of my favorite fish. One of my favorite all-time fish, the rainbow shiners. I like to try some like redfin shiners, or like I've had, rainbow shiners plenty of times over the years. I like to maybe try a different one, different species of shiner. It's hard to get away from rainbow shiners, though. They're just so beautiful. Especially if they're free. There's just something about free fish that makes them look better. I want an Aquarium fish divider from Ben Ochart. I don't have an Aquarium, though. That's kind of funny. Ben Ochart. I like that dude. I hope to meet him in person one of these days. I hope we're at the same event at some point. Our paths will cross, hopefully. I need an RODI unit. I don't know how I would hook it up, but I need one. I've set up a bunch of outdoor tubs to start collecting rainwater to breed all these Corydoras I'm getting. It's going to be a pain. If you want a great tubbing fish, we have some Macropodus ocellatus. I have no idea what that is. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Round-tailed paradise fish. No photo. I can't even see what this looks like. Ugh. Man, no photo. What is going on? What in the deuce is going on around here? Oh. That's a pretty fish. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Bob, you should visit my local fish store in Richland, Washington. Owner is a huge fan of Corys and Plecos and has some nice selection of both. He also has some reptiles. Where in the heck is Richland, Washington? I've lived in Washington my entire life, and I've never heard of Richmond, Washington. Richland, Washington. Let me look that up. Is there a way I could like look up his inventory before I drive if it's really far? If it's really far and he has like albino Corys and that's all, I'm going to be upset. All right, Richland, where is this at? Okie dokie. Oh, you're down. You're like exact opposite corner of Washington State. It doesn't get much farther. Actually, it does get a lot farther, but still. That's probably like a 2.5, 3 hour drive for me. A lot longer now because I can't go over the pass. So that's going to be a problem. That'll have to be like a springtime road trip. I I am on this little Cory video. I didn't even notice. Best gifts was a really good quality netting to cover my pond because the raccoons are getting fresh with my koi and shabunkins. Gotta protect them. Thursdays just aren't the same, says Leslie. Lisa says, I agree. I feel like I'm forgetting to do something by the end of the day. I told you, what was my prediction? That they'd be back by March? I think I said 2 to 3 months. So that would be March. That's when I think you guys will be back, Lisa. That's my prediction. I don't know what the pool is. I don't know what the over-under is. But if I was a betting man, and I am, that's what I would say. March. Give or take a couple weeks. March 1st, give or take 2 weeks. That's my final answer. You guys can't go that long without streaming. You might even be back before then. You might even be back next week. You'll probably take like a month off. Leslie says, I was about to give up on Corydoras until I bought 8 pandas. They are different from all the ones I've had before. Why? They are much more active. There's definitely species. I've noticed like my leopard Corys. They're not, like when they're active, they're really active. But there's a lot of times, like I'm looking at them right now, and they're just sitting there. They're in a group right now, just sitting there. The Aspidoras, they're on crack. They're flying all over the place. The CW123s, the yellowfin Corys, again, are not very active. And I've got Venezuelan Corys in there, and they zoom around quite a bit. Steenfott Aquatics, you did call it. I hope you're right. Well, I probably shouldn't have made it public, because now they're not going to do it just because I said that. But I feel like they'll be back very soon, sooner than later. Fish Tank Frank says, got my first biter today. The other day, he's a puny guy. A puny guy. I have 4 albino Corys chilling. I think a lot of it is like they don't really need to be active, but like you don't really need a flow for Corydoras. It's not like super important, but they definitely love it. And I think if you're lacking flow, then they're I don't want to call it lethargic because they're certainly not lethargic, but they're just not as active, I guess. But I do find like when I have power heads, things like that in there, they tend to be way more active. Like I one of my 125s in the other room there, I have got like power heads and a couple hang on back filters, so way more flow. And the Corys in that tank are like all over the place. And I think the Corys in that one are Rebutii, Corydoras, and Sturbii. Well, Sturbiis are pretty active in general. It's been really fun. Like, I've always loved Corys. I've said it, all 6 years I've been streaming. I've always said I love Corydoras, but I've never really like truly nerded out and watched them. Like my focus has always been like Rainbowfish, right? Like I got Corydoras in the tank, but there's Rainbowfish there, and I'm always like paying attention to the Rainbowfish. But now that I'm like totally nerding out on Corydoras for whatever reason, I'm paying way more attention to them, and I find them to be very fascinating fish. Like way more fascinating than I would have just. It's just a fish. Nah, they're pretty fun to watch. Everyone deserves a break. I just wish they called it a hiatus instead of quitting altogether. Give us some hope. Well, listen here, Leslie. If there's one thing we all should know by now about us YouTubers in general, is that we never quit. No matter what we call it, we never quit. We take breaks, call it a hiatus, whatever, but we all suffer burnout. We all, there's other reasons for taking breaks too. But I'm not going to highlight those reasons. But we always come back, right? There's always ebbs and flows, I guess. Always. They'll be back. It's just a matter of time. They get a little break, they'll be back. Window Licker number 5 says, "Hi Bob, I just don't get Corys. They just don't do it for me, and that's perfectly okay. But I'm curious, Window Licker, like what fish does do it for you?" I think this hobby has gotten stale for me over the last, honestly, like 2 years, because I haven't done anything new. I've been doing like rainbows for so long, that I just kind of got, honestly, I kind of got bored with them, and so I was kind of in this like this area or in limbo. Like, I still love fish, I love tanks, I love plants, aquascape, all that stuff, but it's still just like I've just been like, So I think it's good to, kind of like I don't want to call it branching out, but just I feel like I'm re-energized. Like I'm learning way more about Corydoras than I ever thought even existed, and it's been really fun. And I think that's the key. And one of the great things about this hobby is like you could be in this hobby for 20 years, and there's always something new, something different to do. And I think my issue was that I just haven't done anything new in so long that's why it just got stale for me. But now that I've, got this new passion of Corydoras, if you will, I'm just like everything I do is like I can't wait to go to bed so I can wake up and work on my Corydora racks tomorrow. Like that's what I'm doing tomorrow. And it's just like, man, I'm going to go to bed early just so I can wake up and work on my racks. I love hill streams. That's kind of Corydora-ish. I get it. Not really, but kind of. Like bottom dwellers, scavengers. I love hill streams too. And I imagine that my next project is going to be loaches. That's what I was going to do in the first place, but I caught the Cory bug. So I think my next project is after. So next year, like my goal, new year goals in the fish room, blah blah blah. I've said it before. I want to breed 24 species of Corys next year, and then next year I'll have a new goal, and I think it's going to be loaches. We'll see. Liquid Rock Aquatics says, "I get where KG is coming from because I was in a group for a particular herb that I can't mention on YouTube, and it's not the one you're thinking. Is it moringa? And always get dealt with the same questions repeatedly." See, I don't even think, like, I watched John's whole live stream and all of his reasons for, quitting. And one of them was I don't think answering the same questions over and over and over is like I don't think it's like a main reason of why the break. 'Cause it's really not that big a deal. I think, sure, it does get, do we like answering the same questions over and over? No, but that's not going to make anyone quit, right? So I think as far as like of all the reasons he listed, I think that was like the lowest percentage. Like this had the least amount to do with why he quit. I know for me, a lot of it is just stupid comments. Like they don't bother me, except when I start getting like the same person like over and over and over, and then you just ban them, and then they change their name, and then you got to go through all this thing of banning all their accounts. That gets a little old. But that would never get me to like take a break or quit. But I mean, there's definitely been some times where it's just like, ugh, I got to stream today. I'm just not feeling it. But then I always come on and stream anyways, and it's always fun. So happy Valentine's Day. All right. Spot on, Bob. The hobby where you never stop learning. Regina Flange says, "I love hill streams too. So unique and adorable." It's not even like the rude. It's the demanding people. It's the people that make demands. Like, who are you to think that you can like demand things of us? That's what really bugs YouTubers. How many neon tetras can I put in a 125? Joke. Honestly, we don't even get those kind of questions that much anymore. As I lurk in a lot of streams. I obviously stream a lot, and I would say like when streaming first started, like 4 or 5 years ago, that was it. Like What size tank do I need for this? How many of this can I fit in that? But really, those questions have calmed down a lot. You don't really get them that much anymore. And when you do, usually it's like a troll or a joke, right? Like, how many Oscars can I put in my 10 gallons? Like, if I hear that joke one more time, I'm gonna lose my freaking mind. I might take a break from streaming. There's nothing like a school of baby Corys. What I like about Corys and their fries, they're always different. They're different color than their adults. Not all the time, but a lot of the time, they have like really cool patterns as fry. Is the Dave's Fish website, you're talking about Dave's Rare Fish? I've never ordered fish from them, so I can't say. Sorry for annoying you with my friendship. It's missed one number. Huge difference. Huge difference. My rainbow darters have stolen my heart. I've never been obsessed with a bottom dweller. Darters, another cool fish. I got to get some for my outdoor ponds, my outdoor tubs. I've seen some of the posts that YouTubers get, and I straight up hunt someone down and throat punch them. This is why I don't stream. I mean, there's some pretty gnarly comments, and it takes a lot to like get me to respond or have some sort of emotional reaction to a comment. Because normally, like I could care less, but some of them are just like, dude, what is wrong with you? I've seen if I can pull up some of my comments here that don't get through. But like one of the comments were like, it was so bizarre. He's like, I bet you and Corey have sex with that puffer fish. And it's just like, what? Like, what is wrong with you that you would even say something like that? Like, it's so bizarre. Some people want you to do their research for them. Hey, I am happy to do that. Like, that is why I'm here, essentially. Like, I don't have all the answers, but if someone asks me a question, I'll either say I don't know, or I'll try to look it up, or maybe someone in chat. I'm all for education for sure. After keeping fish for over 20 years, I started watching YouTube videos and watching fish streams, and it turns out I don't know jack about fish keeping. Is it that you don't know jack, or is it us fish tubers don't know jack and you're really the expert? I mean, you've been keeping fish for 20 years. I supposedly have Johnny darters in my creek. One day I'll seine or put a trap in. That'd be neat. Sorry for bothering you with my love. My 55 is going to be set up for trout goodeids. Nice. I'm going to take my time, let it get going with tons of plants. Hope to have lots of babies. You will. The nice thing about trout goodeids is their babies are born really large. For fry, they're really big. Like, they can eat flake like as soon as they're born. As soon as they pop out, as soon as they poop out some fry, they can eat flake right away. You don't have to deal with any of that small stuff. It's great. Leslie says, thinking about guppies in my 55 gallon, but I'm afraid of them overcrowding. How do I keep them from breeding? Feed them less. Feed them less. If you're getting overrun, just cut back feeding and they'll stop producing. They need lots of protein, lots of calcium for them to produce. So if you cut back on food, that was my strategy when I was doing my breeding for profit 55 gallon, which was shrimp guppies and plecos and sisters plecos. If I started getting like too much and my local fish store couldn't take anymore, then I would just cut back feeding, cut back water changes. That's what I love about this stream. You never know what you'll walk into when you get here. Speaking of it, when are you going to come back on the stream? I think it's been, it's been a really long time, Danny, since we've had you on the stream here. I think we looked a couple weeks ago. It's been a while. We need a, it's been so long, I don't even remember what we called our streams. That's how long it's been. I'm trying to find like our last stream. July 16th is the last time we streamed. Oh, the Danny and Bob Aquarium Hour. Apparently it's like the Dan and Bobby Dan and Bobby. Danny and Bob aquarium year. Like one stream a year. Walking in a spider. Isn't that that's a song, like spiders walking in a spider web? Leave a message and I'll call you back. Who is that? That's a song. I know it is. I have to lurk for at least 60 seconds to regulate my system and process where we're at. What in the deuce is going on around here? I swear. I even got new chairs. I don't have room for them, but I do have the chairs. So we'll have some nice comfy chairs. I just don't know how I'm going to get them in here. Maybe it's a nice day we can stream outside. Yeah, no doubt, for sure, no doubt. No diggity. No diggity, no doubt. One thing I'll say about repeat questions is that sometimes there is conflicting information and someone trusts you more than a random source. That's true. Like, one of the, like, I'll be honest, like the comments I hate, these are the comments I hate. I'll find one here. So my video, let's go to sort by the most views. So I have this video called 7 Terrible Fish for Your Community Tank, right? And the comments I hate are like, they'll be like, there's like 1,000 comments where everyone like, yeah, Chinese algae eaters, those are terrible for community tanks. And then one guy will chime in and be like, you're so wrong. I have a Chinese algae eater and he's the nicest fish in my tank. You're absolutely wrong. Stop with the misinformation. And I'm like, oh, so these other 1,000 people must be lying too? Like, what are you trying to say here? Like, read the comments, you know? Like, this hobby is not an exact science. Like, you can clearly have a friendly Chinese algae eater, but a majority of them are going to be jerks. And the other thing is, it's when they're older they're jerks. It's not when they're young. The group, no doubt, is what you're saying. Woo! I have Fridays off in January. Well, let's make it happen, Captain. Need your help to build some racks anyways. Let's do next Friday, January 6th. You pick the time. Fridays off in January. My wife says, you think I look like Al Borland? I mean, I don't see it, but all right. I actually went to one of his celebrity golf tournaments one time. So I have met Al Borland, really super nice guy. I did not win the tournament, but I did get to go to his I don't know if I wouldn't really call it a celebrity tournament. It was like a charity tournament. Or it was, you know, it was Al Borland level celebrities. So, you know, not really a celebrity tournament. But that was way long. I mean, that was decades ago when I worked at a golf course. Long time ago. Please hit the like button, says Eric Wyrock. I agree. Please hit that like. Bob, have you ever fed cichlids hair algae? Zenzo did a video on it, and I just wonder if you had done it. Like what kind of cichlids? Like, if it's Zenzo, I'm assuming African cichlids. I've never done it. I don't think. So, a long time ago, go back like 2016 on my channel, and you can see like I was really deep into African cichlids, and I don't remember ever getting hair algae in an African cichlid tank. So maybe there's something to it. I don't know. What time works best for everyone to hang out? As long as I can sleep in a tad, all I do is chores, so I'm flexible. Livingston Custom Fab says I worked at a golf course when that tournament came through. Nice. Trying to remember the golf course. It was in Seattle. I don't remember. But I worked at a golf course for like 3 years. It was great. One of the best jobs I've ever had. T-Shot, what's going on, buddy? Merry Christmas to you, too. Rob's Aqua. At first when I read it, he says, wife says you look like Al Borland. Like the first thing that like I saw was Al Bundy, and I'm like, Al Bundy? I don't look like Al Bundy. Al Borland is just because we both have beards. Like we don't all look alike. Like, jeez. Have you ever had an experience with rainbow shiners? Yes. Would they be okay at 78? Yes. They definitely need cooler. Or do they definitely? No, they can go cooler. But yeah, I kept my rainbow shiners in a 125-gallon Rainbowfish tank. Temperature 70, mid 70s. Upwards of 80 during the summer, lower 70s in the winter. No problems at all. They handled the higher temps just fine. New Local Austin says, I'm about to add 13 tanks to my garage. I'm worried about having too many tanks to keep up with. How did you make it easier when you had a lot of tanks to maintain? I'm trying to, like, what was the most tanks I had? It had to be, I think it was like 44-ish when I had both fish rooms going. Never had auto water change. I just dedicated an entire day. It was usually Sunday. And I just did manual water changes on all of them. And yeah, it took like 6, 7 hours to do both fish rooms. I dedicated the entire day, so I wasn't in a hurry. I wasn't trying to rush things. It was just like, this is the day for water changes. And I also didn't do every tank every week. So depending on stocking levels, on if their tanks are planted or not, it usually ended up being like maybe like half the tanks would get a water change on that Sunday, and then the next Sunday like the other half. But some tanks I would only do like one water change a month, and there were some tanks where I would do weekly water changes. So yeah, you may have a lot of tanks, but you shouldn't have to maintain those tanks all at the same time. Unless you want me to watch you blink and ASMR drinking coffee, please nothing before 10 a.m. No, I mean, we were doing it at noon. We can just keep it at noon. Regina says anytime after 3:30. Well, the reason why I think we were doing it at noon is because there was no one else streaming at that time. Let's look at the old calendar here. Look at Friday. Yeah, noon. I mean, noon's pretty open on Friday. Friday night gets really busy, though. LRB. Lots of people streaming Friday night. My friends know not to bother me on Saturdays. That's water change day. They don't even call me till after 5 p.m. You got them trained well. That's good. That's really good. BJ Palmer says, hey, Danny, Merry Christmas, sweetie. Sweetie pie. Sweetie boo-boo. I hope you and your husband have a very happy new year. Danikin Aquatics member for 31 months. Holy smoke, says, we do 15 to 20 tanks a day. Easy to keep up with Python. We touch every tank once a week. Other than feeding, that's once a day. That's too much. I'm sorry, Kenny. That's too much work. Especially in your house, because, like, there's tanks everywhere. Oh, my gosh. No, thank you. That's what I do. Water change roughly half and top off the ones that need it on the other half. Then switch the next week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would just cater it to every tank. Like, do like inventory on every tank, like, because not every tank needs to be water changed every week, right? So I have a little pad, a little notebook that I had written down, and I would keep track of my water changes. Bob, I'm about to add, I already got that one. All right. Having a transfer pump to remove water makes it very easy having a lot of tanks. Yeah, so I always used a pump. Like, I don't siphon because that takes way too long. I buy these Rio brand powerhead pumps, whatever you want to call them. And, you get, they have all different sizes. Get whatever size you need. But they're generally cheap and they last forever. I've always had good luck with Rio brand powerheads. And yeah, I just put the pump in, pump it out, and I would pump it out into my grass, and easy. Window liquor number 5 says 90-gallon tank is a mix of cichlids. 75 is a rainbow tank. Rainbow has a hair algae. I'm gonna give it a try. I'll let you know how it works out. I mean, the other thing with hair algae is like that's the hair algae and string algae is like the easiest algae in my opinion to get rid of. Like it's so easy to remove. You just remove it and then fix what was causing it in the first place. And hair algae, in my experience, is always too much food or too much light. That's when you start getting hair algae. So you just cut back lighting and food, rip all it out, and it usually doesn't come back. For me. Leslie Perry with the $5 super chat says, buy part of a Cory with this. Buy part. All right, I'll get the caudal fins. That'll give me the caudal fins. Doing filters today. Doing filters today. This is my I'm going to say not so favorite part of fish keeping. Whips rolled. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Submersible ponds. Yeah, you can use power heads too. Like when I first started doing it, I used a Marineland power head, and it took a long time, but it was still faster than siphoning. Filter day is rough. That's why I'm glad I have 0 filters to maintain. Not a single filter. Well, sponge filter, but no canister filters, no hang on back filters to deal with. Had a disaster. Okay, Curtis. Bud? I don't know what that is. Had a disaster last week. My 12-year-old bumped a bookshelf and a vase fell from the top and shattered one of the glass lids on my 125. Ooh. You expect me to believe that you have books? Fake news. Fake news for sure. Yeah, you have books. You read. Come on, buddy. You're not fooling anyone. When water changing multiple tanks, it's easy to get distracted looking at other tanks, and the next thing you know, you got... I definitely have my overflow stories for sure. Oh, Curtis. Obviously, I'm kidding. I've got a lot of glass lids for a 125. If you were local, I would just give you one. They're honestly like just taking up space. And now I'm most likely going to be tearing down one of my 125s, so I'm going to have even more lids. No, they are my wife's. Okay, well, okay, that makes more sense. Big disaster. So how did you, man, I assume like it shattered and it all fell in the tank? Oh, man. I hate cleaning up broken glass. It's the worst. I couldn't even imagine cleaning it out of a fish tank. Luckily, I did break a heater once. So, yeah, it does suck. Paul McCarthy, thank you for the message, my friend. I was hoping you were going to show up so I could say Merry Christmas to you too personally. And that being said, I'll just thank everyone who sent me a message. I even got a Christmas gift from someone. That was really nice. So everyone who messaged me and said Merry Christmas, I appreciate it. Already replaced it. It's $45 for a 2-pack. Whew. I'm thinking about going away from my Lexan lids and going to a glass shop and having a bunch of lids made. I really like the Lexan lids. I think they're a good alternative, but I'm kind of tired of them. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I think I'm just tired of looking at them. I don't know. Or maybe I just want glass. I don't know. Weirdo. What are you doing, weirdo? Hair algae is a habitat of offwash. Is there anyone that can actually say that word? Little critters and besties that fry and fish like to snack on. I feel like you could say that about any algae, though. Although it's probably more prevalent in hair algae, string algae. Sure. Pulled up as much as I could out by hand and then use a strainer to scoop the substrate in that area. Window Liquor number 5 says, I asked a few people on feeding hair algae things, and a few people, it's a 50-50 thing. I don't think, no, I can definitely eat, especially like Tropheus, Mbuna, all of these African cichlids that graze on algae anyways. I could see them eating out, like, if you pull it up and like ball it up, or I could absolutely see him eating algae. I mean, I've seen my Tropheus eat algae. I've seen Mbunas go after plants. Peacocks, not so much. Not so much. I'm actually missing, you'll notice the fish in the thumbnail today is a peacock cichlid. I'm actually kind of missing my African cichlids lately. And I might dedicate one tank to African cichlids. Just for something different. I don't know. I feel like African cichlids in general have really like lost popularity. And I don't know, maybe I'm just out of touch with that community. But I feel like when I first got on YouTube back in like 2014, it was all African cichlids and monster fish. Right, it was all the big fish out of Central South America, and then African cichlids. Like that was the dominant fish genre on YouTube. Now it's like I can think of maybe like 2 African cichlid channels, like Ben Ochart. I don't know who else is doing African cichlids. Okay, I can think of one. I'm sure there's like some big African cichlid channels. I don't mean to not like name you. I just can't think of any. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Like what's gonna come up on YouTube when I search? Probably KD Tropicals. African cichlids. Let's just see what comes up. Oh, Tazwa tanks, obviously. I knew there was one I forgot. I'm looking for something that's like primarily African. I just feel like there's Steve Poland, like there's all these people from like 2015 that were doing African cichlids, and now like hardly anyone. I seen some cool fish on a streamer's live chat, freshwater tiger scats. Yeah, I've seen those. Those are pretty neat. And even Ben is doing a mix of fish. He does New World cichlids and even a couple bettas now. Tazawa tanks. Caveman Aquatics. I've seen it, but I'm not too familiar with that channel. And if he's doing African cichlids, that's probably why. I just feel like they were everywhere like 5-6 years ago, like African cichlids all over the place, and now I just feel like you don't see it. I could start a channel, but I have a face for radio. Yeah, New Local Austin says, Rob, we all have a face for YouTube. Like, I don't think it really matters what you look like, to be honest. Cichlid bros. I mean, if that's not, I don't know. I don't mean this in a negative way, but if cichlid bros, if that doesn't perfectly describe cichlid people, like African cichlid people, that's like perfect. That's right on. We'll have some OB peacocks and dragon bloods listed tomorrow. Oh, you guys are finally doing African cichlids, and you've picked like the most boring ones. Like, jeez, OBs and dragon bloods. Ugh. I hope you got them by mistake. Like the most common pet store or Petco, PetSmart African cichlids you could get. Africans were my favorite to keep back in the 80s. I mean, there's so many beautiful species. Like I was looking last night because I was thinking about this last night, and man, there's so many, so many. And my dream like collection point is Lake Tanganyika. Like I would go there over like South America or Australia any day of the week. Like that's my number one spot to go. We had to fill a box. Okay. Well, fill it with more concolor Corydoras because those sold out like instantly. Johnny, I pulled up the concolor Corys in my last stream, which is a member stream, and they sold out. So I can't wait till I breed a ton of those and get you a ton of those to sell. I think a lot of it is because African cichlids have already been done and not much has changed. There could be something to that. I mean, especially now with a bunch more like waterways and just a lot more exploration going on in South America, a lot more community fish coming into the hobby. Maybe that's something to do with it. It's definitely been a shift though from monster fish, African cichlids to community planet tanks. I've kind of taken over. Cichlids rival saltwater fish for colors. I just wish they would get along better. Window licker number 5. I think if you plan it accordingly, they get along just fine. I never had issues in any of my African cichlid tanks. There's plenty of African cichlids that are peaceful. Plenty. Corydoras, peacocks are generally pretty friendly. It's just mostly when you start getting into like mbunas, which there's definitely peaceful mbunas, but most of them are going to be, kind of aggressive. Best thing I ever did was change my 125 from Africans to planted rainbow tank. Yeah, I could go back and forth. Mike says, I will be honest, I'm liking my jumbo cyprichromis and tiger featherfins tank more than my rainbow fish tanks. I've always said that cyprichromis are the rainbow fish of the cichlid community. They're so much alike, in my opinion. How they school together, how they flash, how the males flash. There's so many similarities between the two, which is why cyprichromis has always been one of my favorite fish. Always. I remember back. I mean, I used to have like 6 or 7 different species of cyprichromis back in the day. But one of my all-time favorite tanks was my 125. That was African cichlid. Huge rock piles on each side with the center just massive amounts of jungle val. Zebra obliquitans are not friendly at all. Well, now you're talking about a completely different lake. So, yeah. They're definitely... And the other problem with zebra obliquitans is only the dominant male. Beautiful, gorgeous fish, but only the dominant male gets the real good colors, which is unfortunate. Which is pretty common with any like Lake Victorian cichlid. I mean, some of the most beautiful fish come out of Lake Victoria, but again, you could have like 30 of them and only the dominant male is going to be colored up. I think they're boring. Once color wears off, there's not much to them. Just find a spot and chase each other. Even my love for Southies is waning. I don't know. I don't know that I could say that. I don't think I could agree with the boring part. I could definitely see like, okay, I've done this for a while. Now it's boring to me. Had an Mbuna tank for years with no problems. Then the YouTube community convinced me to change to sand, and I changed the decor after that. They fought relentlessly. Now I discovered community fish. Not that their color wears off physically, just the novelty of them. I don't know. I miss my Corydoras. I've bred tons of different types of Corydoras. Well, there's not really tons of different types, but and peacocks. Trouble is, Superchromis are hard to get nowadays. I don't find that to be true. They're just getting more expensive. Like the person I buy them from. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Let's see how many varieties he has currently. Probably has none. That'd be funny. Let's see. Cyberchromis, Leptosomus, Utinta, one of the more common ones. I'm looking for Lake Tanganyika. So the person I get them from currently has 4 different species available, and even some Microlepidotus. So Cyberchromis Microlepidotus, Cyberchromis Leptosoma Utinta, Cyberchromis Leptosoma Mpulungu, Paracyberchromis Blue Neon, and then Paracyberchromis Ulwili. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. So really, like 6 different Paracyps and Cyps, same thing, in my opinion. 6 different species from just one person. One of my wholesalers has some Cyberchromis for sale right now, but there's no collection point, so I can't buy them. Medcal74 says, I've always liked Frontosa, but I've never kept them. I don't think I've ever seen Frontosa kept properly. Very beautiful fish, but they like to be in large numbers, and they get really large. But I will say, Alex, that Cyberchromis are definitely not as easy as they were to get like 5 years, even 5 years ago. But they're still out there. I think you just have to look a little harder now. Wind picking up early. Western Washington getting hit tonight and tomorrow. Fill the bathtub, blanket wrap the fish tanks. Yeah, I've had power flicker here. Last night it was really bad last night and into this morning. I was really surprised to have power this morning. Reef the Sea Forever says, I've seen that shell dwellers are all the craze right now. I would say like 3 years ago, they were all the craze. Hey, Bob, highs around 85, lows at above 66. Could I breed Cali Tiwa Rainbowfish in these temps? Yeah, I don't see why not. Neither of those seem too out of the norm. I can't justify one tank for one fish. Yeah, that's me too, Rob. Like the big Central American cichlids. Although I do think eventually, at some point in my life, I will own a Haitiensis cichlid. And it would have to be a male, so you get that really nice color and the really, really long lyre tails. If you don't know what a Haitiensis cichlid is, so it's one of these big cichlids, right? It's one fish per tank. It's black and white, and it gets these really nice long lyre tails. It's just really a pretty fish. I think I will own that one of these days. Like when I've exhausted like all these other fish that I want to keep and breed, I could see like one day owning one. My favorite tank right now, turquoise rainbows and blue crayfish. That's probably pretty neat. I can't do crayfish here, but I bet that's a good combo. Cali Kev, what's going on? Replay crew, yeah. Says, what's up, Bob? Just stop by to say hi and give you a thumbs up. We're watching replay later. I always like seeing the replay queue in here. Replay crew in here when I'm live. Arctic Blast locked up the lakes, created lots of ice, 30s and 40s coming up. Perfect ice fishing weather. Leslie says, if you have one Oscar and one blood parrot who acts like a water dog, it's totally cool. You can always have a pleco in there. I don't know. See, I would argue like multiple schools of nanofish swimming around would be cooler. But it's just personal preference. Like, doesn't really matter. Love them or hate them, Ohio Fish Rescue has Frontosa, and they keep them properly. A huge group of them in a huge tank. Yeah, I don't watch Ohio Fish Rescue, so I haven't seen that. For no other reason than you can't watch everyone. There's too many. But I bet if someone was doing it, it's if someone's doing it right, it's them, right? All their tanks are huge. Maybe I'll have to check it out. I bought all my Mbuna as babies at the same time, so they grew up together and had their spots, and then I changed it all around on them, which wasn't smart. Yeah, I probably wouldn't advise to do that. Lady says, hey, all, still here, just getting distracted with the family. With the fam. What do they breed to make flower horns? Amissa says, I do miss my Oscar, but he was a jerk. Oh, man. I do like Frontosa. They're peaceful. I wouldn't say they are peaceful. I wouldn't say they're aggressive, but I wouldn't necessarily call them like peaceful fish either. They can definitely take a bite out of some fish. But they are massive, and I need a huge tank. The other thing I don't like about Frontosa is they are one of the species where their color fades as they get larger. You could try all you want to give them like the best water quality, the best foods, but their colors still fade. They still fade. Like an adult is nothing like a juvenile. The blues are just insane on a juvenile. Why do states that want the electric cars have the most unreliable power grids? That's pretty random. Isn't one an actual swimming pool? Yeah, I think they have an indoor swimming pool. I just want, like, where are they? They probably say, like, if I watched their channel, I'd probably figure it out. But where in the heck are they getting all these gigantic aquariums? Like, I've never seen one of these actual huge monster tanks available here in the Pacific Northwest. I've never seen it. Brian Barsacek, or however you say his name, is a reptile YouTuber, is building. Yeah, I think I met him at the last Aquashella, I think. The one in Dallas, I think he was there. I'm super excited to go there because he's about an hour from me. Bob, you should try Sarah bottom feeder tablets for your Corydoras. Mine attack them like crack. I'm not big on Sarah right now, since they changed their formula. I think they might have changed it back, but I don't know for sure. But I know when they changed their formula, like my fish just stopped eating it. And it's pretty expensive food to gamble like that. I was saying it because you're all talking about the power going out in Washington. Well, from a storm though, not from powering electric vehicles. Although, well, no, we'll just leave it at that. I saw those Sarah bottom feeders at Petco. They're pricey. They look good though. Yeah, and I did get some of their tabs of the new formula, and yeah, it was like the fish clearly were not enthused. Flower horns are hybrids, but they are fertile, unlike blood parrots. My Oscar Tatanka is with two bichers, Bonnie and Clyde, and they grew up together. Zen Ginger says I use Sarah Viformo for my Corydoras, and they love it. I'm probably going to be sticking with frozen food and freeze-dried bloodworms for my Corydoras. I don't think there's much better outside of like live blackworms for conditioning Corydoras. I just bought like 2 pounds of freeze-dried Tubifex worms on eBay a little while ago. I haven't got it yet. Like this massive bag, because I know I'm going to be going through them. Like I'm going through a pack of frozen food a day right now. That's the thing with Corydoras. I'm finding out, like, you think you're feeding them, but they eat so much. Like they're really just, I don't know how they're not like big fat gigantic fish for how much they eat, but they eat way more than I would have than I thought. I have a 55-gallon square tank with a blue fluorescent light on it. Glowfish, tiger barbs, and glow tetras, maybe? I just added tiger barbs 2 months ago, working out great. The Viformo tablets you can crush very easily into powder for fry food. For fry 2. Katie is here. What's going on, UPSer? Living the dream. All right, sorry about that. Whipsville says, I think I'm actually leaning towards one tank, one fish. I'll probably always have a small species, South American, Central American tank with Acara and angels, cories, and small plecos, that sort of thing. I mean, the idea of having like one tank per fish sounds appealing just for maintenance reasons, but I know I would get so bored of that so fast. Because most of these, like even these big cichlids in like a 200-gallon tank is still not enough room. Like they still just end up just sitting in one spot, and I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me at all. Merry Christmas, Bob. Merry Christmas right back at you, Katie. Just checked my mag. It's at 12:30. I'm fighting to keep my mag up. Corals are uptaking mag. Oh, you're talking salt water. No wonder. I'm like, what in the heck are you talking about? Don't give me too much credit. I just thought all hybrids couldn't breed. News to me. Like mules can't breed. I watched a video today of, I forget the channel, but the guy was breeding 4 different species of Corydoras in one tank, and I'm just thinking, like, how do you prevent, like, inbreeding? It's got to happen. But then he said it didn't happen, but then he said, like, half the eggs are infertile because of inbreeding, and I'm just like, well, that doesn't make any sense. You can't say it doesn't happen and then say, like, half your eggs are infertile because of it. But I mean, it was working for him. Like, probably not getting the best hatch rates if half of them are bad, but you know, whatever works, I guess. Hey Paul, we made it through peak. I feel like there's still like one more week. Like everyone's getting their gift cards. I feel like this would be a pretty crazy week for shipping. I don't know what like my long range forecast is, but I'm hoping to be shipping by the 2nd week of January. Unless things get really crazy. What's the 10-day forecast look like? Yeah, it's in the 50s here, which is crazy. Wind advisory. There it is. Yeah, I've got like all 50-degree weather for like the next 10 days. That's pretty good. I sent you an email regarding ornate rainbowfish. Sorry I didn't send it 2 weeks ago. All right. I will check it out after the stream. George says, I want a gift card. I want one too. Now everyone should. Oh yeah, the returns, that too. So you have all the gift card buyers and then all the returns. I got to return something too. I just take it to the UPS store though and say, here you go. Laughing Eye says, hello, I'm new to fish keeping. I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I got 4 little discus last week for Christmas. Well, you're starting out strong if you're starting out with discus. That's an interesting one to start out with. I wish you all the best of luck. We're all here to help. There's lots of fish channels. Really good community here on YouTube around fish. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. Are frozen bloodworms considered live foods? No. Nope. Hey, fish nerds, says Paul. Hey, Bob, I asked this earlier in another stream. I'm looking for suggestions on brands to go with for wave makers. I've had Hydor, but they're bleeding electricity back into the water surface. My experience with wave makers, I've had one brand of wave maker. And and I won it at a club meeting. It's the only reason I had it. They worked for like 7 months and then broke. I wish I could remember the brand. It was basically you put one on this side, they had another one on this side with a controller, and it would make it go back and forth. It worked. You know, it was a pretty neat system in my 125. It just didn't last. It was a pretty big brand too. It's been so long though, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember the brand. I have very little experience with wave makers. Now, as far as just like any old power head to throw in there, you know, I usually just find the cheapest one on eBay, to be honest. But like an actual wave maker, not very. Which, I mean, honestly, what's the difference, really? There's cheap wave makers that are nothing but a power head, and then there's the expensive ones that actually like make waves. Leslie Perry says, starting with Discus? Wow, yeah, it's ambitious. It's ambitious, but it can be done for sure. Says, yeah, they are in a bare bottom at 86 degrees and a tidal 35. They're in a quarantine 20-ish gallon. I mean, hey, you're starting out right. That's a good way to do it. I've got a hiker that's doing really well for me, says Paul. Man, I have videos of it on my YouTube channel, but it would probably take forever to find them. I used it in the 125, in my 125 African cichlid tank. Yeah, it would take me forever to find it. Yeah, I don't see it. I really don't remember the brand. I want to say, I don't even want to guess because I have no idea. Regina Flandy says, keep them babies really warm, 85 degrees, clean water, and make sure they eat. Looks like that's right where they're at. I have a 150 gallon tall with some angels. There you go. It's starting out right. Dang. Oh shoot, I'm a member right now. Shout out to those awesome folks that drop gifted subs. Marvin's Loach Garden. Yes, we had 120 gifted memberships last week from Mr. Englehart. It was pretty nutty. Last week's stream was pretty crazy all around, like in so many different ways. It was really fun. It was a good one. You have a fish room tour from 6 years ago with cichlids in it. Yeah. I just don't know. The ones I have worked for a while, but it's been long enough. I can't remember anymore. That's kind of the situation I'm in. It's been so long, I can't remember. They're probably not IP67 rated. They're probably not going to be covered by your insurance company, unless they're like a really good name brand. Laughing Guy says, yeah, feeding a lot and daily water changes to clean the old food. You sure don't sound like a beginner. You're doing really well for a beginner. You got it down. You know exactly what you're doing. That's good. Got him in a quarantine tank. Got a 150 gallon waiting for him. Water changes, feeding, warmth. You're doing your research. You're doing good. Liquid Rocks Aquatics says Angels will probably get aggressive with them at some point. Just be ready. This is why I don't like keeping angelfish at warmer temperatures, because it just makes them angry. You know, I've kept angels once. I kept them in the 70s, just so they weren't. It's gonna bug me. I can even like see the box in my mind that they came in. I can't even remember the auction because I was charged for someone else's bid. All right, I gotta look. This is gonna bug me. If this takes more than a minute, I'll stop. I can just find it here real quick. Come on. Come on, baby. Where are you at? Looking. I've used this Sun brand a couple times and have had pretty good luck for just like a cheap eBay brand. Pretty good luck with them. Was it current? No, I don't think it was current. You know what company I have a really good luck with is the Jabao. Whatever, I have no idea how to say it. I don't know if anyone's ever used them before. Here, I'll pull it up because I have no idea how to say this name. Where are we at? Over here. All right, this brand right here, I've had really good luck with. Here we go. Whatever this is, Jabao. I have multiple return pumps of this brand. I have circulation pumps with this brand, and I've always had good luck with them. Paul says, Bob, I must have weird angelfish. I've got a trio of them in with my Discus, and they're model citizens. Maybe they're just not interested in breeding. Maybe they're all females. Or maybe they're just all model citizens. But in the wild, angelfish spawn in the warm season. So as soon as the water warms up, that's when they start spawning. That's when they start getting territorial. And if we recreate that and we make our aquariums warm, then that's just going to happen again. It's going to happen. They're going to get aggressive, territorial. This is why I keep them cooler myself. One, I wasn't trying to spawn them, and they were in community tanks. Yeah, I don't know. That I remember the Wave Maker was like $300, but I don't see it. I'm just searching on Amazon. I don't see it. It's probably, I'm sure it's not even made anymore. I'm really curious of the brand though. It might bug me so much I might go back and watch my videos. See what brand it was. Laughing Guy says, I'm interested in breeding locally only because I want every fish store in town and nobody... Oh, I went to every fish store in town and nobody had Discus. Discus can be a weird thing to breed. You may want... There may be a reason. See, if I went to every fish store and nobody had Discus, I would think that nobody is buying Discus. Like, right? Like, they're not even breeding Discus. They're not buying Discus to sell because no one's buying them. Which that could get you in trouble if you breed a lot of disc and there's a lot of Discus and there's no market in your area for Discus. I hope you know how to ship. I feel like Discus is another one of those fish that are just not as popular as they used to be. But maybe I just don't pay attention to Discus that much. Okay, not gonna read that one. Angels do fine in 78-degree water. Yep, that's pretty much what I kept mine in. And they're fine in community tanks. I agree. It's good to know that their aggression level goes up as attempts do. Yeah, I mean, that's usually the only time you're gonna have problems with angelfish. Now, if you're putting them in with like chili rasboras or something, obviously they're gonna eat them. I don't consider that aggression. That's just the cycle of life. That's not aggression. So just keep that in mind. Like if you're keeping them with fish that are gonna fit in their mouths, they're gonna eat them. That's just what they do. What else we got going on here? I'm interested in breeding locally. Maybe that would work out for you. Okay. Leslie says, I started with goldfish and still messed up. I clean my filters every water change. Now, that would be an interesting question. Like, what got you started in the like? I'm asking everyone that's in the stream right now. Like, what was your first fish? What was it that got you in this hobby? Leslie says goldfish, still messed up. Clean my filters every water change. No knowledge of the nitrogen cycle. That was in the late 80s. No internet then. My fish paid the price. Yeah, I still remember like my first fish tank. It was a 29-gallon. I was the one of everything, right? It was bala sharks got me into fish keeping. Like the first time I saw a bala shark, I was like, wow, I got to get one of those. And I did. And they didn't, I was a kid. They sold it to me. They didn't care what my tank was. I had 29-gallon. And then I got the bala shark, and then it was like, wow, I want all the sharks. So I got the rainbow shark. I got the red tail shark, right? Obviously, disaster waiting to happen. I got one angelfish. I had one loach. It was literally the one of everything. That was me. And I remember the first time I cleaned the tank, I was like, ooh, I'm going to clean this thing so good. They're going to love it. Like, I wasn't even thinking, right? Now I'm a young, stupid kid. I'm an old, stupid adult now, but I was a young, stupid kid too, believe it or not. And I don't know why you're calling me. I remember I filled up the sink. I plugged the sink. I filled it up. I'd scooped out all my fish and I put them in the sink. You know, I'm temporarily going to keep them in the sink while I'm cleaning the tank. And I went through and I scrubbed every inch of that tank. I siphoned the gravel. I cleaned off every decoration. I mean, this thing was spotless. And then I go back and like all my fish are like half dead in the sink. And I'm just like, what? Like, what's going on here? I was so confused. But luckily none of them died. I immediately scooped them all back in. They were like all in the bottom, like half dead. Like it was bad. But I scooped them up and threw them back in the fish tank real quick. And they eventually all came back, and then months later it was a bloodbath. They all started killing each other. But that was it for me. It was like bala sharks. I was sold. Freaky Fish Lady says my first fish was an Oscar named Buck. My first fish with 3 or 4 Oscars and a 20-gallon high for med cow. Ooh, I bet Oscars is gonna be a big one. Dennis says gift of guppies. See. I don't know that I'm okay with gifting fish or animals in general. Life in Liquid says, peace, Bob. Do you think you will ever sell rainbows from your old sources again? You were shipping great fish, and you are a great fish shipper. I'll never say never. It is certainly a possibility. We'll see how things go when I reopen the website. When I start shipping again. I'm shooting for February 1st. But we'll see. I'm definitely going to be shipping and selling fish. I just don't know if it's going to be rainbow fish. I'm probably only going to be doing fish that I breed myself. So, SJ Fishing Adventure says, my first fish was green swordtails. Right on. Bob, Petco sells Discus, so somebody is buying them. Well, it depends on the level of Petco. But, yeah, I mean, is someone buying them or are they killing them all? I would gamble on the latter. I got into the hobby for my diamondback terrapin, but all the fish that I liked aren't good tank mates. But I bought my... Yeah. You don't want to be putting Discus in with diamondback terrapins. That would be an expensive meal. I love diamondback terrapins. Like, that's my dream turtle. Some of the boys in my AP Econ class went to Petco after the AP exam and decided to surprise me with a betta. Then I had to learn how to keep it alive. That's an interesting. Was this like a? Nah, never mind. That's interesting. Surf City Cichlids says, 1985, neighbor across the street had a Dempsey and a 10-gallon, bought the same. 6 months later, started working at an LFS at age 16. Johnny says, 2 mosquito fish from 6th grade project turned into a betta, then into a 10-gallon with one of everything. Laughing Guy says, that happened to me. I lost several of my first fish. Clean the tank, scrub walls, and clean the filters. Mm-hmm. Yep. My dad had tanks his whole life, but my first tank was a 38-gallon I got from my brother when he left for the Army, but had a fire mouse and an Oscar. Eventually, the Oscar had to go into a bigger tank. Mm-hmm. Wendy is sidetracked. Says, Coolie Loach, 1970s Coolie Loach and Neon's undercover filter plastic plants except for a banana plant. I bet Neons have got to be up there for getting people into the hobby. They're such an eye catcher. Like, you walk into a fish store, I feel like if I owned a fish store, I would have a gigantic school of neon tetras in a display tank. Because there's not much that's more attractive than that. Just a large school of neon or cardinal tetras is pretty awesome. You got to admit. Alex says, used to grow and breed a fair number of angels. They are cichlids. This is true. You can get some males that are just absolute a-holes regardless. Steve Rybicki, who originated the koi strain, gets $400 a purr. A purr. He has a purr. A pair. Leslie says, I'm still a believer in undergraduate filters. I'm going to do it on my next tank. Well, yeah, it's not like they don't work. They still work. They don't... Yeah. All filters work. Just personal preference. Whoops World says, I went from a goldfish to guppies to common LPS fish to piranha and an Oscar. And that's when I caught the Southie bug. I still want a cylindrical tank with a centerpiece tree or driftwood log and like 1,000 neons. That would have to be a really big cylindrical tank. I would rather have a square tank with that. Just so I didn't have to look at things distorted on the curve of the glass. That would bug me to no end. Zenjir says, I still love them for bettas. Low flow and easy to maintain with low stock. Talking about undergravel filters, I assume. Yes, ginormous. Ginormous. Do you think there's such a thing as an aquarium that's too large? Or did we just learn that lesson with Germany and what happened there? Can an aquarium be too large? That's not really realistic, though. For the average hobbyist, is there such thing as too large? I don't know. Freaky Fish Lady says, live and learn. Never put a beautiful clown knife in with your school of over 100 neon tetras. He can and will eat them all in 2 days. Definitely. Whisperl says, I'm with you, Bob. I do not like curved glass. They have bow fronts, corner tanks. Anything. Oh. It doesn't hurt my eyes, but it makes my eyes feel weird when I'm looking at an aquarium in curved glass. It's hard to, I don't know. Does anyone else feel that? It's hard to explain like what it does to my eyes, but it's weird. It's just weird. Has anyone owned the Fluval Flex tanks? If so, do you like them? I have not owned one, but I would never own one just because of the curve of the front glass. I think it's a really cool concept, and I know a lot of people do like them. But again, for me, that curved glass is a no-go. And then, especially being a YouTuber, like it's one thing looking at that curved glass, but trying to film with the curved glass, it's just too much work. No such thing as a tank that's too large. In the late 70s, there was a cool fish store in Crossroads, Bellevue, Washington, called the Fish Store. I think that just recently shut down. What memoried? I bought an acrylic frog there that got aquatic frog. Acrylic? Aquatic frog there that got enormous. He went back to the store. I feel like the fish store just recently closed down. Like within the last 3-4 years. Do fish care about the actual shape of the tank? Well, maybe they don't like looking out of curved glass. I don't know. I'm sure they don't, but like I wonder how distorted we look. Is it like looking in one of those like funny mirrors? Grant says, yes, I have a bow front, and it's my least favorite tank. Difficult to gauge exactly how my fish are doing. I will say the larger the bow front, like there's a 220-gallon bow front tank that's not terrible. And it's like the curve is like, there's hardly any curve just because it's so big. But like the 38-gallon bow front, oh man, I had one of those and I was just like, what am I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. Medcow says I have 2 bow front tanks and it makes it very difficult to take pictures. Yeah, I used to, like way back in the day, I used to really want one of those corner tanks, right? Where it's like a, corner tank, obviously, and then the front is really curved. Oh, I'm glad I never got one. So glad I never got one. What got me was a squeaky fish bathtub toy at my grandparents' house, and I still have it somewhere. That's awesome. Laughing Eye says, my 150-gallon tall is hard to clean. I can't reach the bottom of the tank. I use steps to get me up and over and still can't reach the bottom. Very little amount of sand on the bottom. I actually went and bought long-handled nets just for my 125-gallon tanks. I hate like dipping. Like, I don't know I can't keep track of everything I do all day. I don't know what kind of toxins are on my hands. I hate getting my hands in the tanks because you never know. So I got some long-handled nets just for those big tanks so I don't have to dip my hand in there. Got a 10-gallon setup at Sears with caddying money. Nice lady gave me gravel to cycle tank, red wag platies, and Paleotis Corys, I'm assuming. Yeah, Paleotis. Sears. I never would have thought fish tanks at Sears. Never in a million years. I love Sears as a kid too, mainly because of the icy machine, or Slurpees, whatever they were called. I don't know. I guess Slurpees is 7-Eleven. Maybe it was ices. I just remember, like, every time we went to Sears, I would always grab my change and get myself an icy. I don't remember ever seeing fish tanks there. Sears is, man, what a weird store. Sears. I'm kind of sad Sears is gone, but there's no way they were gonna make it. But man, back, like, Sears, there's not much that beats Sears in the 80s. Such a cool store. Sears had Sears was awesome back in the day. Yeah, it was always my favorite place to go. That or Best. I don't know if anyone remembers the store Best. I think that was actually my favorite store, but Sears was up there. Oh, excuse me. Best had like a whole food court, had the ices as well, had like a really big toy section. I still remember, like, that's where I would get all my He-Man characters, was at Best. Zane says, for me, it was koi and goldfish. Had a pond at my childhood home. The 65-gallon acrylic tank I have is like a half octagon, and the corners are rounded to make things look weird. Not a fan of it, so I want to replace it with a 75, but I can't find a good deal on one. Well, if you're close, I'd give you one. Grant says, I loved Best. Amazing toys. I'm just glad someone else remembers them. I don't know if that was a national chain or a regional chain. Bob, I posted a video of my 36 bow front, shooting it straight on. There's no distortion. Yeah, I know. It's just more of a pain, though. That's the problem. That's where my dad always bought his large and yard appliances. I got my first TV at Best. My 13-inch color TV was my very first TV, and I had that thing forever. It was in Lubbock, Texas, so it must have been a national chain. The Sears Christmas catalog as a kid was amazing. Yeah, it was one of my favorite things to look through. Montgomery Ward's was next to Brookstone in our mall. That was my jam. I don't know what Montgomery Ward is. We didn't have those there, obviously. 1960, Woolworths in San Francisco had fish until 1990. Both better fish than Petco. That's not saying much. That's not hard to beat. Sears used to sell catalog houses. There's a couple in my city that are still up today. That's crazy. At best, didn't you have to pick what you wanted out of a catalog and they would pull it for you? It was only the large items. You had to like grab a little thing and take it up when you checked out, like the really large items. But it was a really large retail store. So, I mean, it was almost exactly like Sears. But the large stuff, you had to like grab the slip. Same with the or the like the large or like the really expensive stuff. It was the same thing at Toys R Us. You had to grab the slip and take it up. We're never gonna get those times back. Never again. Now it's just point and click. Point and click. Have it there in 1 to 2 days. Sometimes 2 hours. JCPenney had a pretty good Christmas catalog also. That's true. That's true. Service merchandise. Service merchandise. I still want one of the like home entertainment with the big honking speakers and the big cabinet. Man, if I could find one of those, I would totally get one. I wanted one so bad as a kid. I find myself now buying all the stuff that I couldn't buy as a kid. Like I own some pretty ridiculously stupid stuff as an adult, but it was all stuff I wanted as a kid. I don't know what's wrong with me, but whatever. Wendy is sidetracked. Has a sidetrack kind of question. Says, I'm looking for a movie to watch after the stream. I just watched a movie trailer for Undine. It opens with an exploding aquarium. Yikes. Toys R Us. I'm still a true kid. Yep. I got busted shoplifting from a Toys R Us. I do not recommend shoplifting. That was an experience. Especially because my mom worked there. Whew. Boy, did I catch a beating for that. Oh, man. Ay, ay, ay. But it worked. I didn't steal anymore after catching that whooping. I was like, yeah, this 50-cent candy's not worth that beat down. I don't think I'll steal again. Remember when you could take Christmas presents you bought at JCPenney's and they would wrap them for you? A lot of stores used to do that. I kind of missed the wait for ordering stuff. I was such a surprise when I got stuff. Now I'm mad when it's not here immediately. Where I moved from, I just was starting to get like same day delivery from Amazon, and now I'm back to like 2 to 4 days now that I'm out in the boonies. But it's all right. I don't care. I got nothing to do. I can sit around, wait. Just taking it easy out here in the woods. These days, Tide is behind a locked glass at Walmart. Oh, I haven't been to a Walmart in forever. I miss True, too. What's True? They requested that our family cease and desist our Nerf sword battle in the baby racks. I remember as a kid going to Toys R Us and grabbing like all my nickels and getting those little rubber bouncing balls, and we would just throw those things all over the store. Oh, man, did we get in so much trouble. But it was so fun. And, like, every once in a while, you'd get people that would pick them up and throw them back, like, just huck them over aisles. It was, I don't know. I thought it was fun. I was a kid. I was a stupid kid. What do I know? It was fun. Best stores were here in Virginia. They had great small electronics section. It was really small, wasn't it? My 13-inch TV was from there. A Sundance film, Undine, seems aquatic in nature, but I have to sound off because this stream is more important. Seems aquatic. Undine. Oh, Toys R Us is True. Okay. I had no idea. I remember getting on those balls with the handle and you would bounce. Like we always did that. It was great. Or we would jump on the bikes when they were down off the rack and ride the bikes around and get in trouble. My favorite thing, and I don't even know if they make these toys anymore, is the racetracks, right? The little racetracks that you would connect, and you had like the little trigger guns, and you would just race. Do they make those anymore? I love those things as a kid. I could never afford one though. I think I got a small one time, But we can never afford like the large ones that would take up like the whole floor. Oh, I was so jealous of my friends that had those. So jealous. You have a good life, Bobber. Oh, I do. I'm very fortunate. I'm not trying to like downplay it by any means. It's just a very weird. It's a very weird life, I'd say. But I think you could say that just about anyone. My journey has led me all over the place, and it's been very bizarre, but rewarding at the same time. After the fact, of course. Slot car track. Is that what it's called? I don't even know what they're called. My favorite memories, my favorite Toys R Us memories are Pokemon League. Was Pokemon even out back then? Like, jeez. I finally watched Top Gun Maverick. I love that movie. And the new Thor movie today, I'll never watch that. But I did like Top Gun Maverick. It was, I mean, it's almost an exact remake, kind of, but it still was pretty cool. Pretty good scenes. We are all stupid kids. Oh, kids are all stupid. That's fairly true. Fairly true. I think that's a huge hobby for people. Do they have a name? Is it just like slot car racing? Pokemon was out in the 90s, so yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to Toys R Us in the 90s. I was going in the 80s when I was a kid. Slot car tracks smelled of burning wires. I can actually, like, I can smell that smell right now. I know exactly what that smells like. I'm going to look at it. Let's look. Are those things sold anywhere? Can we have, like, a Fish Fam slot car tournament? Slot car racetrack sets. For kids? No. For adults, baby. Adults. There we go. Huh, these are still a thing. I had no idea. Oh, yeah, you got the ones with the loop-de-loop, and I wanted a loop-de-loop track so bad. That's so funny. I had no idea they were still a thing. Slot car racing always smell like ozone. I'm so in for that. There we go. Slot car. I don't know how to organize that. We have to do it at like at a fish event. I don't know what the biggest fish event's going to be now. You can find see, that's the one I would want, the old school ones that are on eBay. I'm sure all these new ones are trash. Like, let's be real. Toys now are all trash. Just quality trash. Let's look at eBay. Slot car racetrack set. Hot Wheels slot car racing set. Snake versus Mongoose 13-foot racetrack. Oh, yeah. See, oh, yeah. And that's the Tyco. I remember Tyco. That's it. The Tyco ones. 1993 Tyco Magnum California GT slot car racetrack. $100. My brother and I went down this rabbit hole a few months ago back. I almost got an old school one for $200. I went down the rabbit hole of arcades, of like the full-size arcades. We had a whole garage full of arcades at one point. It was great. They're very, very expensive. The owner of the company I work for has an 8-track train set up that I get to play with, and I have an African cycling tank there as well. There you go. People spend ridiculous amounts of money on model train setups. My grandpa was really into it. Palmer says, I'm laying in a hot bubble bath with candles watching you, Bob. All right. Whatever you got to do, buddy. Whatever you got to do. The old style slot cars had weight to them. Yep, smelled like ozone. If you took the corners too fast, your car ended up in the other room. I mean, that was kind of the point. Does anyone remember Stretch Armstrong? My brother had that useless gummy toy. That I think that was kind of after me. after my childhood. Or maybe not. I never had it, though. I remember the rollerball on the Centipede arcade game used to pinch my hand. Oh, man. We had the Donkey Kong. We had the Centipede. We had all of them. There's a lot of money to be made in restoring those old arcade. Like, I have so many old parts because we would just buy them broken, fix them, and then put them in our garage or resell them. It was a nice little side business for a long time, to be honest. What? Why do people keep messaging me? What? Stretch Armstrong was awesome. Etsy has a 1983 Tyco set for $159. I mean, I can't do that right now. One, I have nowhere to put it. Two, I could buy that, or I could buy $160 in Corydoras. What's my biggest obstacle right now with your tanks? Honestly, I don't have any, to be honest, because I don't really have a lot of tanks set up right now. I'm actually tearing down my fish room. Well, it's already tore down, and rebuilding racks. So I would say my biggest obstacle right now is the lack of racks and building racks. Nothing too crazy, no. I would say another obstacle I have is breaking down fish and housing them all together has been kind of fun. Not really. I'm thinking about getting rid of all of my adult rainbow fish. If I could find one person to buy all of my adult rainbow fish, I would sell them all. Which it's all like, I have my 125 with a bunch of mixed species. Because I would always keep like one or two when I was selling rainbow fish, and so I've got like a 125 with 20 different species of rainbows in it. Stretch was gross if you left him in the grass in the dead of summer. The sun fried him. All right. My dad used to get used slot car tracks from people for us, and we would put them all together and make crazy tracks and had tons of cars. Half of them didn't work. Sounds about right. I'm about to buy it and have it shipped to you. Yeah. That smell. Like that's a smell you'll never forget. Like Prime, right? You're never gonna forget what Prime smells like, or Seachem Safe. Same with those tracks. Definitely burnt electronics for sure. Lucas says, I wanted Stretch Armstrong so badly. When did Stretch Armstrong come out? Like, I'm curious, because I was never a Stretch Armstrong. When did Stretch Armstrong come out? The 70s? Are you kidding me? Okay, so it was before my time. So you all are old. Bunch of old fogies in this stream. Holy smokes. Favorite houseplant? Right meow? Right here. This really big, long stream of Monstera Peru that I can't really see. If you remember, well, you won't remember, but last week, when this was all shriveled up, and I said it would come back, and it did come back. It's coming back. I don't even think I could. Dropping my phone everywhere. Oh my gosh. It's like all intertwined with my Mycans, but it's sending runners everywhere. There we go. I absolutely love Monstera Peru. A couple leaves, are not going to make it. I'm going to have to prune them. But oh no. Stay. Oh, come on, you old fogies. Don't get mad. Don't get offended. I'm old too. I'm an old fogey myself. I prefer the smell of good old two-stroke. Would love to see the rainbow tank, Bob. There's no plants. It's basically a holding tank. That's the only reason I haven't shown it. It's just a holding tank. When I broke down all these tanks, I needed a place to throw all these rainbows. Old, what about Gumby and Pokey? I know Gumby. I don't know Pokey. What about, where's all the Cabbage Patch Kids? What happened to all the Cabbage Patch Kids? Where'd they all go? Oh. I don't know what Pokey is. We've officially entered the weird part of the stream, I guess. Oh, Pokey is the horse? Okay, now I remember now. I don't know that I ever had a Gumby. I was a He-Man and a G.I. Joe kid. That's where my priorities were at. Oh no, what? Born in '83? I'm old. At least you're an '80s kid. Garbage Pail Kids? Oh yeah, Garbage Pail Kids. Yeah. Prime smells the worst. I don't know, Paul. You ever have a leave a bag of frozen clams out? I'm gonna tell you. Frozen clams left out in your car in the dead of summer is probably the worst thing you'll ever smell. Castle Grayskull was one of my favorite toys in the 80s. Was that still the 80s? Yes, absolutely it was. And it was one of my favorites too. One of the few expensive toys that I was actually able to acquire as a kid was Castle Grayskull. And it's only because, well, we don't need to get into that, but I did end up with 2 of them actually. So that was even better. Even better. I remember I got a bunch of He-Man stuff. So I had a really bad accident as a kid. Like I was doing something stupid. So I've got like scars, like if I didn't have a beard, you'd see all these scars of me falling. And then I fell like head over heels and landed like right here. And so I was in the hospital, surgery, stitches, all of that. But in order to make me feel better, my parents got me a bunch of He-Man toys. So that was pretty sweet. That was totally worth it too, you know. A scar for life and some He-Man toys. Take it. Take it. I was sold. And then my mom gave them all away. So pissed. Still got the scar. Don't got the toys. I got gypped in the end. I was born in the Eisenhower administration. Older than dirt. Older than dirt. So glad I haven't sniffed Prime. Safe isn't any better. Seachem Safe. I miss the original Transformers that were metal before they became all plastic. Optimus Prime. Megatron. Yep. Garbage Pail Kids cards. I probably still have some of those. Regina Flandy says, I think my brother attached fireworks to my Stretch Armstrong. That's funny. I remember way back in the day, not way back, but I have a nephew. He was really into Bob the Builder, and his birthday is right around the 4th of July, so he got a Bob the Builder thing for his birthday, and I took the box that it came in, just the box, like the packaging, took it out, put an M80 in it, and just exploded the box, and oh my. I think I scarred him for life. He started crying. He thought I just blew up Bob the Builder. Oh, it turned into this whole big thing. I got in trouble. I was like, oh my gosh, I just blowing up trash over here. Let me blow stuff up on the 4th of July. That's the whole point. It's just trash. But I think I scarred him for life. Steenfott stinky? What? I smell good. I smell good. I'm watching from bed with all the animals. That's kind of that might be too much info, my friend. If you guys are in bed, you don't need to tell me. All right. Should I sing you a lullaby, Paul? Do you want me to sing you a lullaby? Oh darn! It's after 7. I can't. It's time to go. Half the people have already left since we started talking about toys. But their loss. Their loss. So yeah, that's gonna do it. It has been 2 hours somehow. That went by way faster than normal. So thanks everyone for hanging out, talking fish. I appreciate it. I might be doing a New Year's Eve live stream, so look out for that. Unless I magically find something to do on New Year's Eve, which I never do anything on New Year's Eve, so I should be here. So watch for that. Otherwise, we'll be back here next Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, like always. And I hope you all have a great week and a Happy New Year if I don't see you again till then. And that's pretty much all I got for you.